Hey everyone, and welcome back to DIY with Melissa. I, of course, am Melissa, and today I'm going to show you how to go ahead and create all of these initials with the name as part of the initial. The letter C on social media has blown up. I'm almost at 1 million views between Facebook and Instagram, and I'm just blown away that that little tutorial is almost at 1 million views. Thank you so much. Thank you for all the comments, the likes, the shares, everything. I appreciate it so much. Because it was such a popular video and because I'm zoomed in so closely, the steps that I'm doing are hard to follow along for some. And therefore, I thought it'd be a good idea to show you all how to do this on YouTube so that you're seeing my entire screen, and hopefully that will make life a little easier. These can be done with so many names and so many fonts. It will be a search. I'm going to show you the 3 fonts I'm using here. Chip Decor is the one font I'm using for the initial, and I tend to go to that font a lot. The names I'm using Wildflower and DTC Bikini Babe. They are both Cricut Access fonts. You will have to have access or you'll have to pay for the font. The Chip Decor font is also a Cricut font, but you don't need to have access. It is a free font that Cricut has. So we're going to get right into it, and I'm going to start with the letter A. I do have another Cricut canvas open, so we're going to do all of the letters over here while moving back and forth between the screens. So for this one, I will bring in the name and then the initial A, which, like I mentioned, I'm using Chip Decor for that initial. I will change this to red just so we can see it. And I'm just going to slant it. And I'm going to try to get it as even to this line as possible. That looks pretty good to me. We'll make it a little bit bigger. And grab that. Okay. Before I move along, one of the major things in the video with the letter C was the fact that I did not weld the name. I do apologize because I should have welded the name, but honestly, it was more so a tutorial for how to get this project done versus welding. And as I mentioned, I should have shown how to weld it because that is one important step in order for it to cut nicely. So my apologies in advance. We are going to go ahead now and weld this. Instead of welding, I am going to unite it because unite, we can always undo. Weld, as we move along, we can't undo anymore. So now that I welded the name, looks good to me. I am placing the name on the initial where I think it looks good. Once I have that, I'm going to grab a square, brought the square in, and I'm just also slanting this. And I'm making it as about the same size as the A. I'm placing it over the A. I'm going to try and straighten it out a little bit more. And we're going to drag it on either side like so. You do want a clean cut. This looks pretty clean to me. If I had this a little bit less, then I'm going to have a strange cut with this curve showing, and I don't want that. I want it to be clean. Now that I have my square in place over my name, I'm going to select just the square and the initial. I'm doing so by using the layers panel and the control key on my keyboard. I hold that down and I select the 2 layers. You cannot slice out of more than 2 layers. Please keep that in mind, as if you choose all layers, your slice will disappear. So we need the 2 layers only, just like that. And we have our slice, which I'll click on. I'm going to go ahead and delete the excess. I am deleting the slice results on the right hand side here. You'll see there's 3 portions, and I'm going to go ahead and hit delete. Now our name is in our letter, our initial, really nicely. I'm going to just drag it, make it a little bit bigger. And that looks pretty good. I'm going to select both the initial and the name, and we're going to click on offset. And for offsetting, you want this to be a pretty big offset. You want to get a good bit of it stuck together as it is here. Hope you can see that. The blue outline goes like this, and this leaving us with a bit of a portion that's there. You can make it a little bit bigger if you wanted to. You can also attach it to this portion, which will make it one piece. I did it like so, something like that. Make it a little bit less. This is completely personal preference. I think that looks pretty good. Let's click apply and see how we like it. I don't like the little bit showing there, so I'm going to hit contour and hide that one piece. And now we have a solid piece. I'm going to hit offset again. This time it's going to be a thinner offset. That looks pretty good to me. I'll click on apply. Now I'm going to select the 2 offsets, again holding control on my keyboard and clicking on it on the right hand side here, and click on slice. Delete the excess, and now we have our name in the initial like so. Looks pretty good. Once you're happy with it, you can click on attach. My recommendation for this project is that you cut it out of vinyl. The white that is showing, if you can see that, all of the yellow that's showing will be open space. If we did this out of cardstock, it's going to be a little difficult to bring it back together. So therefore, I highly recommend doing this out of either heat transfer vinyl or permanent vinyl. Permanent vinyl would be good for cups, notebooks, mugs, agendas, etc. Your heat transfer vinyl would be good for cardboard boxes, shirts, hats. This would be a fun hat to do. I can't think of anything else, but just think about what you're making and decide from there how you want to go about doing it. The last thing I didn't say, and I'm actually going to undo this to get it back to where the offset was before we sliced it. There we go. I'm going to select the 2 pieces again and click on offset. The font chip decor does have a bit of a rounded edge to it. As you'll see down here is rounded. This is straight now because we sliced out of it. And the same goes with this because we sliced out of it. But for the most part, it is a round edge font. If I use the square corners, it squares off this portion here, just that, and then around here is more of a curved edge. There we go. So again, this is personal preference, how you want your initial to look. To me, the round edge is better for these fonts, but totally up to you. Set that aside, and we'll bring in the letter B. And the name. For this one, we are going to spin this around. So because it's a straight edge, this will be spun around to 90 degrees. The way we place the name is completely personal preference. This one has a bit, we have a bit coming down here and a bit coming up here. So I feel like this is the best place to place it. I will then just grab my shape, which is a square. and place this over here. We'll select just the square and the letter B and click on Slice. Delete the excess. And now I can take the name, make it bigger. Looks pretty good to me. I'm going to select both the name and the initial. I'm clicking on offset and I want it to be big enough that this portion and this portion are touching. That looks pretty good. Apply. We're going to do one more offset, slightly smaller. Apply. And I'm going to select the two offsets, again using Control on my keyboard, holding it and selecting the two pieces on the layers panel and click on Slice. And now delete the excess. And I think I like that. I'm going to, of course, take my Benjamin and I'm going to weld it. Or, as I said, unite. Attach everything. Change the color. And there you go. That looks so good. That will be really nice for a hat. Not for a child, because we don't want anybody to know their names, but it's a really cool one. Of course, you can change the name to read the other way, like how I did Amelia. Sorry. You can have the name facing the opposite direction so that it reads upwards. Again, completely personal preference. Okay, we're moving on to the letter C. Like I said, this one got quite the views and comments and feedback on it. It is a little tricky because we have the letter C and we have this name that's not welded yet. If we weld or unite this now, we're looking up here, our curve function disappears. We don't want that. So undo unite. The other problem we're going to have is if we bring the letters closer together now and then try to curve, it's also going to disappear. I'm not really sure why, but that's what happened. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to place my name on the letter, on the initial, wherever I feel like I'm happy with it. I'm then going to curve my letters in to the letter C, just like so. It looks pretty good, and I like how it's showing that it's the perfect circle. And now I can fiddle around with the letters. I can first start by bringing my letter space together, like so. And then I can open it up some. And once you're happy with it, please ensure you're happy with it, because when we move into the next step, our curve will disappear. We can't curve anymore. So what I'm going to do is, as you know, I brought my letter space together, but my C and my R are not touching properly. It has a bit of a gap to it. I'm going to ungroup the letters and just click on the letter C, and using my arrow keys on my keyboard, in this case, I'm using the up arrow. I'm bringing the C closer to the R. You'll see if I click on the up arrow, how it moves up and down. So this is now down, and up is bringing it closer to my letter R. Once I'm happy with the placement of the letters, which I am, I'm going to select all of them again, and I'm going to unite them. You will see we can no longer curve these letters. You have to be happy with it before doing all of this extra work. Once we're happy with the placement of our name, I'm then going to grab this oblong shape. I'm also going to spin this around so that it's even. And I'm going to place it on the letter C. Placement of this oblong piece is really trial and error, I would say. I just tried it, looked at it, see if I had liked it. If I didn't, I try it again. Undo is your best friend with this letter. We're going to select just the oval and the letter C and click on Slice. I'm going to delete the excess, and I'm going to bring this closer to the initial. That looks pretty good to me. I'll then select the initial and the name. And of course, I'm going to offset. Again, I want the offset open enough that it's looking like this. I'm going to click on Apply, offset again at a smaller offset. Apply. I am going to use contour and hide that piece there. Other than that, I think I'm happy. I'm selecting both offsets and clicking on Slice. Delete our excess, and there you have it. The letter C complete. Oh, looks so good. So truly, the design really depends on the fonts that you use and the name, of course, as well. Actually, I just noticed something here that I don't like is this portion right here. So I'm going to detach and grab the offset, or sorry, contour, and see if I can, but I don't think I can. I don't quite like how that's coming down there. So I'm going to do it again. Select both, offset, a nice size offset, apply, offset again at a smaller offset, and hit apply. This actually looks better, I would say. Select both offsets and slice. Delete. Oh yeah. Select, oops. Select both portions and attach. The smaller, and we now have our letter C completed. Let's move on to the letter D. We have our name, and as you can see, it needs to be united, so we'll do that. Spin this around. We'll go the opposite way this time. Bring it on our initial. Grab a shape. The square shape. And I'm going to add this to my initial and bring it down. Once you're happy with the placement of the shape, I'm going to select the shape and the initial and click on Slice. I'm going to delete the excess. And now we have our name in here. There we go. Selecting both the initial and the name. I'm going to click on Offset. And apply. Offset again. And apply. Select both portions and slice. Delete the excess, and there you have it. Looks pretty good. Attach. There we go. So I think you may have the concept down, but I'm going to run through it for the rest of the letters. spin it around. So I united first, then I spin it around, add it to my initial where I see fit, grab my square, grab the square and place it on here. I think for the E, I'm actually going to place a square right up against this portion of the E. I don't want to slice too much out of the design. All right, just like so. Grab the initial and slice. Delete. And I don't like how that looks. So see what happened right there? So we'll undo what we just did. Undo again. And now we'll take a better look at it. I have to come up just a touch more. If you want to have a better idea of what this is going to look like, you can change your operation of the square to pen. And then now you can see where it's going to cut. There's a bit of a gap, but I think that might actually be okay. I'm going to grab my square and the initial and click on slice. Delete our excess, and I think that looks pretty good because we still have the look of the E there. Selecting the initial and the name, we're going to go ahead and hit offset. We want a good offset. Looks pretty good to me. This does not make a difference. Hit apply, offset again, apply. Select both the offsets using control on my keyboard and slice. Delete my excess, and there you have it. This looks really good actually. I'm really happy with how this turned out. And attach. There's our letter E. Go to our next letter, F. Back over here, paste. If you didn't know you could do that, you can. It comes in handy a lot, for me at least. I'm going to make sure my letters are united and spin it around, add it to my initial. The E and the F are probably pretty much the same thing because of course it's just missing the bottom portion. I don't know why I keep going into images. It's very bizarre, but anyhow. Bring this across. Yeah. Initial and slice. Delete that. That looks pretty good to me. Select both portions. Offset. A big enough offset so that our name is sitting properly in the initial. Click on apply. Offset again. Apply. Select both offsets. Slice. Oh, and I made a mistake. My F is not touching the name, so it looks a little wonky. We don't want it floating. I'm going to hit undo, undo again, and undo again, undo again, and there we go. Select both portions again, offset. This time I need to make it a bigger offset. Touch. Let's try that. It's not quite touching up there, so we can get just a touch smaller. When you are offsetting, if you're using the little scrolly bar and it's not doing what you need it to do and you want it to just move up slightly and you can't get it to do that slight move up, you can highlight the numbers that you want to change and just change like that and tab out. So 440 was a good spot. I'll click apply. I'm then going to contour and get rid of these little bits. I'm going to offset again, this time a smaller offset. Apply, selecting both offsets. I'm going to slice, delete my excess, and now I have the letter F complete. And that one also looks really good. We're going to change this color and attach. That looks really good. We're going to go in with our G. Now G and C will be done pretty much the same way as well. We'll go ahead and unite the full name, spin it around. We are not going to unite the full name. You may remember with the C, we cannot unite or anything until we have our curve in place. So I brought the name Georgina down. I will curve it first. And that looks pretty good. Once I'm satisfied with the curve, and I think I am, I'm then going to bring my letter space closer together by going down on the letter space area here until all letters are touching. There we go. It's at this point now we can curve some more if you want. And then I can bring that letter space a little bit closer. Okay, we're going to stop right there, and I hope you can see this. So I'm going to change this to a brighter color. Here we go. The letter G and letter E again are not touching nicely, but if I move the letter space down one more, my R is overlapping with my G, and it's still not touching very nicely here. So I'm going to put this back where it was, ungroup the letters, and I'm going to bring just the G. So I just selected the G. Using my up arrow, I'm bringing the G closer to the E. Select all your letters and unite. That looks pretty good. I will then bring in my oblong, spin that around, add it to the letter G. We'll select the, so I keep saying oblong, it's actually an oval. We're selecting the oval and the initial and clicking on slice. We're going to delete the excess, and that looks really good. We can move our initial closer to our name, and I think I'm actually going to make the name a touch smaller, just like so. Select both the letter G and the name. I'm going to click on offset, and again, you want to ensure your offset's big enough on either side. Click on apply, offset again, a thinner offset, click apply. Select the two offsets and slice. Delete the excess, select both, and attach. So far, those babies are looking magnificent, if I do say so myself. So we'll move to the next letter, H. Ace. So for H, we have the same shape going here. You could potentially put it across like so if you wanted to. Actually, that might actually look good. Let's see. We're going to try it out. We're going to go ahead and unite our name. I'm actually going to make this smaller. Yeah, I'm going to grab my square. Add it right here. And that looks pretty good. Select both the initial and the square, and we're going to slice that out of here. There we go. Add our name back, touch smaller. Select both, offset, apply, offset, smaller offset. Select both offsets and slice. Remove my excess. I think I actually like that one a lot too. Look at that. That's really pretty. And attach. So our name is in the middle there, middle of our H. If you wanted to do it the way I did these other ones, the B and the D would be the same concept. We'll just do it right here. Remove the portion and go ahead with the design. All right. Move on to our eye. For the eye, we're going to go down the middle here. We'll spin this around and, of course, weld it or unite it. Grab my shape. And we're going to place it. Okay, let's try that. And slice. Remove the excess. And that's pretty good. Grab our name and make it bigger. So you may have seen when I sliced the shape out of the initial, I didn't actually place the name on the initial, and that's because the letter I has nothing else to it. So the B had this portion here. The D didn't have anything, but it did have these little bits up here that I wanted to be clean. E and the F also have the middle piece here. So again, it's really just what you're working with, the names you're working with, that will determine how you go about doing this design. I'll make this a touch smaller, and I'm going to make the name a touch bigger. Okay, we'll hit offset and apply, offset one more time and apply, select both offsets and slice. Delete the excess and voila. I think I'm going to go ahead and contour this and get rid of this little bit that's here. Yep, there we go. Select everything, change the color, and attach. That looks really good. These are really small decals. This is 1.93, so keep that in mind as well while I'm just making them smaller to get the space. Move on to J, paste. Bring it around, grab a shape. I have no idea why every time I click on something, it opens images. I'm not really watching what I'm clicking, and that's happening. I don't know why. Get this going here. Actually, with the J, I want it to be the straight edge. We need this. There we go. Our J will have the square like so. Actually, I'm going to put this on here. Select the square and the letter J and slice. Delete the excess. Now I'm going to make the name bigger. That looks pretty good. Select both pieces, offset, just like so. Apply, offset again without touching anything. Apply, select both offsets and slice. Delete our excess and select both and attach. How do we think about the J? I think it looks pretty good. All right. Okay. Now, for the letter K, we do have a couple options. We can do it up and down here, or we can do it on the side here. I'm going to do it on the side because I feel like that's a good place for it to go. All right. Looks pretty good to me, but I just want to show you this curve right here and the letter are kind of close together. I'm not sure how the cut's going to look, but let's test it out and see if we like it. Grab our square, bring it over here, and we're going to slant it. Bring it down. So this is what I mean when I said that. I don't like how that looks because now it's going to slice and it's going to look a little strange. So I'm going to actually do it like this. And then I'm going to bring my name up some and see if I like that better. So I'm grabbing the initial K and the square and clicking on slice. Delete my excess. And no, this is what happened here and I don't like that. So let's undo what we did. Control Z on your keyboard also will undo stuff. That's what I just did. All right. That one was a little tricky. I think I got it though. There we go. Let's try that. I'm going to select the letter K and the square and click on slice and let's delete the excess. No, we're not doing it that way. We are going to do it on the straight edge here. Bring this down. Place it on my letter K until I'm happy with it. That's pretty good. Put on top the K, grab the square and the K, slice and delete. I grab just the name and I'm going to make this bigger, like so. I'm going to offset this, a bit of a bigger offset. And I didn't select everything. I need the name and the initial, and then I can offset it. Looks pretty good to me. I'll click on apply. Select them again and offset because I need the middle to touch for the letter. Although this one doesn't matter as much, but let's see if we can get this to touch. Hit apply, a much smaller offset on top. Hit apply, selecting both offsets. We are going to hit on slice and delete our excess. Oh, looks pretty good. We can attach this and change our color. On to L. L is going to be very much the same as the others. Grab my square, place it on the L, select both portions and slice. Delete the excess, bring my name in, and make it bigger. And that looks pretty good. I'll select both portions and offset. Big enough offset that everything is in there. Apply, offset again, a smaller offset, and apply. Selecting both offsets, click on slice, and delete the excess. There we have the letter L. And attach. We'll go ahead with the letter M. The letter M, I'm going to use the thicker side over here. I'm going to bring my shape in. And for the letter M, if you saw my previous video, it's a little tricky. You just don't want it to touch this portion. That looks pretty good to me. Yeah. We're going to select both. We're going to select both the initial and the square and click on slice. Delete the excess. Bring in our name. Make it bigger. I'm going to unite the name. Select both the name and the initial and offset. Enough so that everything is touching. Hit apply, offset again. Hit apply, select both offsets, slice, and delete our excess. You may remember I did my name with the M. Okay, we are halfway through this bad boy. Bring our N in. Paste. For the N, I'm actually going to use the middle portion here. Over my shape. And I'm going to bring this in. A bit bigger. Looks pretty good. I'm selecting both and clicking on slice. Delete my excess. Now, bring this down here. Move it around so that my Nicole is sitting in the end nicely, like so. Select both, offset, nice big offset, apply, offset again, a smaller offset, apply, selecting both offsets. I'm going to click on slice and delete the excess. That looks really good too. And attach. Oh, before I attach, I forgot to weld or unite my name, Nicole. Okay. And I'm not sure if you can see that, but the I and the C could have been brought a little closer together. So I'll do my letter space here. That looks much better. And unite. Select both and attach. So I think I got every single letter there is. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do all of them just for the look, but I will fast forward this part going forward. But please go ahead and pause in the other portion so that you're able to see what I'm doing. If you have any questions, let me know. But your biggest part is you need to grab the O and paste it. So step one is to slice a shape out of your letter. For the curved letters like this, I'm using the oval shape. Either this one or this one works. There's two different ovals. I preferred this one as it gives me a thicker piece versus this kind of skinnier piece. So again, personal preference. I'm going to spin this around and add it to my letter O and bring it down. Again, personal preference. This is how I did the C. I sliced the portion first and then I brought my name in, or you can spin this around, add your name here, make it bigger, and before you weld your name or bring the letters closer or anything of the sort, you need to curve it. Once you touch the other options, you will lose your curve, and then we can't curve our design. So I can now bring my letters in closer. If there is no more room to use letter space, I can then ungroup my letters. I can then select what I want to move on the right hand side layers panel. So I moved the O over, so I only selected the O, but now I want the T to move over. So I'm going to select OCT and using my up arrow, I'm bringing that closer together. So I had the OCT selected so I can move those in together. But now I need the A and the V in closer. So with the OCT selected, I'm going to select the A and also move that upwards. I need the I and the A a little bit closer together. So same concept. Once I'm happy with everything, I can then go ahead and unite the name. As you can see, the curve option is now gone. Once that is there, I'm placing my oval on top of the initial, selecting the oval and the O, because remember, we cannot select more than 2 layers and be able to slice. And I'm going to click on slice. Delete my excess, bring my name back in, and I'm going to make it a little bit smaller. Once I'm happy with the placement, select both and offset. Apply. We are going to offset one more time and apply. Selecting both offsets using Control on my keyboard and clicking on them in the layers panel and slice. Delete that. I'm not really loving how these little portions here are looking, so I'm going to go ahead and hit contour and hide those contours. Oops, I forgot one. Okay. Select everything and attach. So key things to take away from here. The 2 offsets, the second offset is slightly thinner, but that is going to determine the gap in your letters. Your curving of your letters needs to be done before you go ahead and weld anything or unite them. Otherwise, you're going to lose your curve function. And have fun with it. Most importantly, have fun. Now I'm actually going to just do the last bit of the letters. I'm going to do this on sped up, and I'll meet you back here in just a moment. This X is a little bit difficult to do, and what I had to do was I brought my square in like so, and I'm going to drag it down like that. Even it out, select both, and slice, and delete. I think that looks pretty good. Sander down. Select everything, offset this as well. The most important part I almost completely forgot about is how to change this into a sticker. Some people have asked, and I want to show you how I would go about doing that. If we just went ahead and flattened it from here, we now technically have a sticker. However, Cricut is going to cut in between here. All of this blank space will be cut out, so we'll have the outline as part of the sticker, the name as part of the sticker, and then the portion of the A that's available as part of the sticker. We want everything to be one piece, and how you would go about doing that is creating an offset. You want the offset big enough that it's covering all around, and don't worry too much about what we're seeing here. And I hope you all can see that inside it's also offsetting each portion, and we don't want that, but I'm going to show you how to fix it. Once you're happy with your offset, we'll hit apply. And once our operation is set to print then cut, you'll notice contour disappears. In order to get contour back, we're going to change our cut to a basic cut. And now contour is showing, so I'll click on that. And what I'm going to do here is hide all the contours. Hiding all the contours is going to leave me with one solid piece behind my design. So if I were to just grab that contour by itself, as you can see, it's one solid piece based on the design that we have. So once you have your offset, we're going to change that to white. And now we can select both portions and flatten. Now we have our design as one piece, but just note it will cut all around. So it's one piece that's going to be cut in the shape that it currently is. But you could technically, instead of um, hiding all contours, so I'm going to change this operation back to basic and hit the contour, you can leave this piece open. So just like that, go ahead and change my contour back to white, select everything and flatten. So now Cricut's going to cut all around here, all around, all around, all around, and also in the middle here. That's one option. The next option, I'm going to delete that offset, is maybe you want them to be circle or rectangle shape stickers. So we'll go with the circle or even a heart. We'll grab our circle. I'm going to change this to white. I'm going to bring my design to the front, add it to the front of my circle, make it bigger, however big I need it to sit in that circle. You can also try to center it. It typically does this for me because it's a little bit too big. So it's either you're going to make it a little bit smaller and then center it. Now our design is centered, or you'll just move it up in the circle until everything is sitting in the circle, like so. Once you're happy with it, we'll select everything again and flatten. So now Cricut's going to cut this one piece, just the circle. So you'll get the printed portion and your circle done. We'll put about 2 inches. And now we have some really cute stickers. So that I wanted to tell you because, as I had mentioned throughout the video, I highly recommend we use this with permanent vinyl or heat transfer vinyl. I really don't think cardstock will work because the design is quite thin, the outline is quite thin, and of course the font with the name is a little bit thin as well. So my recommendation, as I've said numerous times, but my last time saying it, is we're going to use permanent or heat transfer vinyl, or if not, we'll make them into stickers like this. There you have it. All of the letters are complete. They look so good. I hope you enjoyed that tutorial. If you did, don't forget to give me a thumbs up, hit that bell button so you're notified when I post new videos, and of course, subscribe to my channel. This one was a lot of fun, a lot of work. Like I said, I will work on putting the chapters in. I am running a bit late with my video today, but I am hoping you all enjoy it a lot. If you could leave me a comment below and let me know what you thought of the designs that I did. Some of them I'm not in love with. For instance, the Y, I feel like we need a thicker or more like a skinny Y maybe. Same with the T. I feel like it should be a little bit longer, and I probably could have filled around with the T to fix it. The Y, I'm not sure what I would have done. But for the most part, I really like this, how all of them turned out. And that's that. I hope you have a fabulous week ahead. Happy crafting. Take care and bye now.